All right, here we go. We are back in the car park. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel from a beautifully sunny sunset in Florida. I tried to film this video in front of a lake in a really random location called Lake Montgomery, but I had flies from the lake literally trying to fester in and around my mouth. So we've got to do with the car park outside of a hotel again today. We have got some big Chelsea news stories to discuss today, including an update and the latest regarding Mamadou Mudryk's case. We have also got big talks once again for Chelsea and Joao Pedro. I want to discuss in a little bit more detail what I actually think the club are doing right now. Because look, I don't have information that anybody else doesn't have. Do you know what I mean? I'm literally looking at all of these rumours and thinking, does any of this actually make any sense? Do we want another striker, or do we want a number 10? 1 minute it's we want Liam Delap and another striker. The next minute it's, oh, maybe it's a number 10. We're going to go into all of these details today. But before we get into anything, please make sure, if you aren't already, make sure you're subscribed to GBFC. We are heading to Philadelphia on Friday morning. I'll be there. I'll be shooting another vlog, 6 things we learned, all of that stuff. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you do enjoy these 7 a.m. news videos to keep you guys up to date with my thoughts on the latest transfer activity, smack a like on this video. So let's talk first of all about the latest regarding Mudryk, because it had been months really since we'd heard anything. I'm going to go into the latest on it right now. This is from Fabrizio Romano. Official, Mamadou Mudryk charged by the Football Association for anti-doping violations and could face up to a 4-year ban. We can confirm, this is quote the FA, that Mudryk has been charged with anti-doping rule violations alleging the presence and or use of a prohibited substance in terms of regulations 3 and 4 of the FA's anti-doping regulations. As this is an ongoing case, we are not in a position to comment further at this time. Mudryk's camp have then gone on and added no additional comments on top of this. So basically, we are left with the same opinion from Mudryk's camp that we heard all of those months ago. And look, if it's a 4-year ban, okay, the fact that Mudryk hasn't played football for the last 6 years, this has got to be factored into whatever decision on the duration of the ban, surely. Because I've been thinking this whole time, right? There is obviously definitely a side to this where it could be that Mudryk thought he was going to get away with something. There is countless rumours about what's actually happened here. And I'll reference one of them as an example because it could make sense, right? So there are obviously substances that might not be banned in Ukraine or Russia, but they might well be banned in England. Now, I know that footballers, they're getting paid a lot of money. And within that money, I reckon there should be more than enough people advising and structuring whatever supplementary intake those footballers are supposed to have. I know that obviously a lot of footballers will be very cautious on this, but with Mudryk, right, I just feel as though the way that this whole thing has played out from minute number 1, where we had the A sample result, which has then led to him not playing football for the past 6 months, to waiting all of this time for any kind of update, I just find the whole thing very bizarre. Now, I understand in football, and in any case like this, particularly when we're talking about a player that is on a lot of money, people go on and say, oh, 100 million wasted. I'm not sure why people still think Mudryk cost Chelsea 100 million. If Chelsea sign a player for 5 million, flipping football media would tell you that we bought him for 30. Just because it's Chelsea, people believe that shit. But in this case now, Mudryk will have lawyers. Mudryk will have probably, I think he's got the same person that Paul Pogba had on his case, so that when Pogba got a 4-year ban, it was then reduced to an 18-month ban. I've seen some people going out there and saying that Chelsea should try and bloody sign Paul Pogba. There was one position we don't need anyone, it's midfield. We're not going for Paul Pogba, don't worry. But in terms of Mudryk's Chelsea career, unless this appeal that is obviously going to happen, because look, if Mudryk genuinely believes he's innocent, then there is still that potential that there was wrongdoing involved here, which has led to a player's career basically being destroyed. If Mudryk can't play football for 4 years, when he's what, 21, 22 years old, this is destroying his career. No one's going to want to go anywhere near him after that. And as well as that, like, how do you maintain the standards of being a professional footballer, playing regular football? It's horrible, really, if I'm being honest. And look, there is also the side of things where instead of me being all like conspiracy or whatever, some people will see it as that, there is also a very big possibility here that Mudryk has just massively screwed up. And as a result of that, when you're a professional footballer or a professional sportsman or woman, you need to make sure that you are not putting things in your body that you know are going to come up on a drugs test and lead you to getting a 4-year ban. So there is definitely a large part of me that thinks he could have made a mistake. You know, he was obviously always spending a lot of time in the gym. He was always lifting weights and all of that stuff. And look, if you know you're not allowed to do it, don't do it. It's as simple as that. But the latest on Mamadou Mudryk is it looks as though a 4-year ban is coming his way from the FA, but expect that to probably be shortened down for being a good boy. And yeah, that's just usually the way everything goes in these cases. Now then, let's move into the next story. Fabrizio Romano has been talking again about Joao Pedro to Chelsea. Understand, Chelsea have Brighton's Joao Pedro as one of their targets on the shortlist for this summer. Highly appreciated. Initial contacts took place to be informed on the situation as Joao can leave this summer. Newcastle already approached Brighton this week. So I think at this point in time, right, Chelsea aren't doing too much in terms of going out there and actually submitting bids for players, because we're linked with Morgan Rogers, we're linked with Mohamed Kudus, and now we're once again linked with Joao Pedro. It's almost as if right now, all of the journalists, it's on like a 2 or 3 week cycle where they've got all of these players that Chelsea are reportedly interested in. We don't see anything happen with it, and then the stories kind of go around the rumour mill once again. Joao Pedro, I think in comparison to your Mohamed Kudus, your Morgan Rogers of this world, Joao Pedro is by far the most underwhelming name on that list. And look, we can only look at what they would bring to this Chelsea team. Fundamentally, Kudus and Rogers, I think, are better quality footballers than Joao Pedro. And I think Chelsea here are going to be looking at the Club World Cup. This is what I think is going to happen. In match day number 1, you had Nicholas Jackson with a fantastic assist, Liam Delap with a fantastic assist, both showing different elements of what a striker's game can look like. The longer we go into this tournament with Jackson and Delap performing, I think Chelsea's answer becomes pretty clear, that Delap and Jackson will be the starting strikers throughout the season. And then if that is the case, then we could essentially, and again, this is all what is going on in my head, right? This is what I think is going to happen. Essentially, then what will happen is Chelsea will have money that we could actually go out and invest on a really high quality potential 10 player, such as a Morgan Rogers at 70 million. Mohamed Kudus apparently now less than the 85 million release clause. And when it comes to Mohamed Kudus, Chelsea are trying to involve a player or 2 players in this potential deal with West Ham. But again, importantly, Chelsea aren't going out there with anything formal. There isn't any bids being submitted. So at this point in time, Chelsea are just basically poking around and looking at what is going to be available. And I think also, I don't know if this is exactly what Chelsea are doing, but it feels like we're kind of just waiting to see who else gets in the market for these players, because I must admit, I always think that there's a big premium when it comes to selling to Chelsea. And whether that is our fault because we've overpaid for players in the past or not, but some of the prices that we are being rumoured to have been told this summer, like your 84 millions for Hugo Ekitikes, you're flipping 85 million, that's a release clause for Mohamed Kudus, but I don't think these players will inevitably get sold at that price. Chelsea right now, we are focused on the Club World Cup. The Premier League, once this tournament is finished, it will begin a month later. So within that month, we can see how we do in this tournament, gauge what we really need based on the performances in the tournament, and invest between the end of the tournament and the beginning of the Premier League season. That is what I genuinely think is going to happen, unless some of these players start being like, I really want to leave, I want to get to my new club as soon as possible. Here I'm talking about the likes of Kudus. With Rogers, it will be very much Aston Villa will be like, we need to sell you, who wants him? That's what could happen with Morgan Rogers. And then with Joao Pedro, we already know that he wants to leave. So he's probably also weighing up whatever options he's got from whatever club's interested in him. Ben Jacobs also says, regarding Joao Pedro, Pedro only discussed in mid-June after Liam Delap arrived, with Chelsea seeking a different approach, with Chelsea seeking a different attacking profile with the expectation that Christopher Nkunku leaves. This is why I think Chelsea are looking at the higher price bracket number 10s, the likes of Morgan Rogers, Kudus, Joao Pedro, because those are the kind of deals that would have been very difficult to get done in time for the Club World Cup. But Christopher Nkunku doesn't exactly look as though he's buzzing to be at the Club World Cup, does it? And right now, it's still so early in the transfer window that, of course, we haven't been able to sell Nkunku yet. And of course, with not so many attacking options, with so many wingers leaving and departing already and not being available, if Nkunku's still a contracted Chelsea player, we're still paying the bloke, so of course he's gone to the Club World Cup. But for me, there's no chance that Nkunku doesn't leave this summer, which is why, when it comes to substitutions from Maresca for the rest of the tournament, I don't really want to see Nkunku get any minutes. What's the point? He's not going to be with us. He's not really been trying his hardest, in my opinion, since flipping January. So I don't want to see him out there on the pitch again for Chelsea in the Club World Cup. Let's move now into the latest here regarding Chelsea's new defender, Mamadou Sarr. This is what he's had to say. When I was a kid, I had a dream to be the best centre-back in the world. I want to be like Virgil van Dijk. I love Van Dijk. He's a leader. But some people tell me I play like Ibrahima Konate. If we get to see Mamadou Sarr in this tournament, apparently Chelsea think that he is going right to the top. If you listen to what his old manager at Strasbourg has said, he thinks Mamadou Sarr is going right to the top. And look, mate, Mamadou Sarr is in the first team squad right now. Do I think that means he's going to be one of Chelsea's first choice right centre-backs come the beginning of the season? I don't think so. Again, similar to what we've discussed here today with the number 10 position or the second striker, but it looks more like a number 10 now that we're going to be going for. I think Chelsea, we're not going to see too much of Mamadou Sarr at this tournament. Maybe we do, but I think even in the first game, we were never really in a position against LAFC where we were too in control of the match. Yes, we were 2-0 up for the last sort of 10 minutes or so, but do I think he's going to be ready? Absolutely not. It's a fine line this summer between getting excited about these young players, but also you can't fool me until you've proved it on the pitch. I still think Chelsea need some experience and need some leadership out there. Not to say that Mamadou Sarr isn't going to become a world-class defender. I'm sure he's a really, really talented player, and there's a lot of people with a lot of high hopes for him. But let's see where we go with this one later on in the window. Going to wrap up this news video now. The sun is dipping behind the clouds and I'm starting to sweat. Florida heat is absolutely different. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you're not yet subscribed to GBFC, make sure you do so. Smack a like, and I will see you for the Chelsea Flamengo preview later on this afternoon. And then I've got to catch a flight at flipping 7 in the morning to fly up to Philly. So let me know in the comments if I'll be seeing any of you guys there. Come on, you Blues.